right, I'll call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on the agenda, approval of the minutes from November 8th. It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the regular board meetings of November 8th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. Motion passes. Next, approval of general fund vouchers 79095 through 79175 and wire transfers 202-20189 through 202-20259.
Move to approve. Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the general fund vouchers and the wire transfers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes. Next, public comments on the agenda. Is there anything up there? Nope. All right, next, spotlight on education. 21-22 FFA convention.
Okay, so we have the FFA crew that agreed to come in and share a little bit about the 21-22 convention. So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Watson for this one. Okay, Mr. Frencher.
And kind of see everybody else. Do you want me to start with this, or do you guys want to start with your thoughts? We'll start with it. All right. Figured that's how we're going to go. Feel free to chime in as you like. So we had a lot of fun and a lot of really good pictures taken, so I tried to narrow it down to just a few of our highlight moments. We were in Indianapolis the last week of October, so the 26th through the 30th, and I had 8 members that went, just due to work and a few other things. We have ski club on Monday night, so we have our best 3, right? But we have 3 of our crew of 8. So a few things, we get to travel, so it's about a 10-hour drive down there, but we did stop and do a few fun things. So one of them is we did drive through Chicago, downtown Chicago, and saw they call it the Bean. It's a monument downtown. It's kind of a fun thing. A little bit of a culture shock. We parked and we had to walk a couple of blocks, and you would have thought we were in a foreign country. I think the boys didn't really know what to do. We had Braden in the cowboy hat, which made it better, I think. But one of our favorite stops is the candy store. There's Albanese. They make gummy worms and gummy bears. You've probably seen them. I know they've kind of made their way into Quick Trips recently, but they have a big candy factory. They used to do some really cool tours, and I don't know if it was COVID, but they remodeled a little bit, so we didn't get, it was kind of a self-guided tour through their factory, but we could still see through the windows, but we stopped and loaded up on sugar, so I had 8 teens on sugar high for 4 days, so imagine how fun that was. Once we got to Indianapolis, our first day before we even went to convention was some tours, and one of them was Heartland Growers. So they grow, the biggest thing we saw there was they had about 1 million poinsettias, which is about as many as it sounds like. They just had rooms full of poinsettias, and primarily they go to Lowe's and Home Depot, so we got to see a lot of the poinsettias that you would have purchased from there. This was a favorite. Do you guys want to say anything about our time with Heartland Growers?
The place is just huge.
Yeah.
They say 40 acres.
It's about 40 acres underneath. Yeah. And it was neat. They had like a newer part and an older part, so we got to see some different watering techniques and even how they heated different areas. Obviously, they're a little bit farther south, so they don't have quite as much of the bitter cold as we do. But it was kind of interesting to hear what they had to say. This one was pretty fun. Anybody want to take this one? How did they show us around?
So when we got there, they have like a little museum in the middle of the speedway, and we kind of went up there for a little bit. They got like a gift shop and whatever in there, and then after that got on like this little bus thing. Is that what it is?
Yeah, little minibus.
And we were with the Prairie Farm kids, and so it was, you know, pretty small. And then they took us around the whole track and showed us like a couple different things. And at the end, they have like a big museum thing with a bunch of race cars and like of some Indy 500 winners and whatever. So, and that's one of them that we got to like sit in that one and take pictures or whatever.
So if you aren't familiar, it's called the Brickyard, and the thing is kind of famous for the kissing the bricks when they win. So we were down, this was actually, I think the bricks are right in front of us here. So some of us did actually kiss the bricks. I'm sure super hygienic, but sorry. So our sessions were in the Lucas Oil Stadium, which is where the Indianapolis Colts play, which was pretty fun. It was huge. So we were just kind of hanging out waiting, so they basically are trying to put about 50,000 people in at one time. So there was a little bit of waiting and trying to get there kind of early so we could get good seats. Millie, do you want to talk about this part?
Sure. So this was like my favorite part of like the whole convention, and she talked about like how a culture is everywhere, like anyone can be in it, and how like literally you can be from anywhere. Like you can be in the middle of the city and you can just like contribute to agriculture.
Yeah. Her story was cool. She really wanted, her name's Courtney, she really wanted to make it in like news and television as a newscaster. So she was from Kansas, grew up on a farm, grew up wearing the cowboy hat and the boots, and kind of packed it all away and moved to New York to try to make it big. And she kept kind of feeling this tug back to her roots. So then she kind of went back and put her cowboy hat on, and then people were like, well, you're too city for that. And then the country people were like, well, you're not country enough. And her whole message was just about being yourself and doing kind of what's true to you. So that was cool to hear. So this was one of our seats. We were in a couple of sessions. This one we sat a little bit farther back. So we're in, they basically cut Lucas Oil Stadium in half and drape it off for this session. Again, there's about 50,000 people in Indianapolis for this, and most of them are at the session. So this was kind of a cool view to see how many people were there. And then we did actually have some, not front row seats, but pretty close. We were down on the floor. So this is one of the national officers during the opening ceremonies. So that was neat to be that close. Some of them got to be, they basically do a big tunnel of students for the national officers to run through when they're announced. So some of our members got to be a part of that too. And then I made them smile for a photo op in a few places. Anybody want to talk about our chapter bonding fund? Aaron, you got this.
What was that place called?
The Indy Screen Park. So this one.
Oh, that one.
And then
I was talking about the
Buca.
restaurant.
You were talking about food.
Yeah.
Sorry. Buca di Beppo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
way too much pasta. Like, that family stuff, we'd actually like eat a lot. Ended up getting like 2, and we had enough to probably eat for like a week.
Yes. We did take it home and eat it for breakfast. So.
And we went to the Indy Screen Park, and there was a whole bunch of different haunted houses all the way through kind of the woods on the outskirts of Indy. And that was just lots of fun because they had like giant building that they had all set up for the haunted house.
And they had some outside too, and it was raining, so it was like solid mud.
Everything was covered.
I think I still have a pair of shoes that I need to clean. But yeah, that was a fun time.
Was this any of your first time going to a national convention? All 3 of you? Okay.
Could you give your names quick? I recognize your faces. Well, I know Hunter.
I'm Amelia.
Aaron Hayden.
I'm Amelia Burr.
Pardon?
Amelia Burr.
Okay. Okay.
Did you guys have anything else? I had asked them to share a little bit about what they learned or what their favorite part was. We covered some of it, but if you guys had anything else you wanted to share as far as things that you learned or took away from convention.
Well, I guess I learned that FFA's a way bigger organization than I ever thought. I mean, I just thought it was some little hometown club, but then you get there and you realize that it's huge. It's just giant.
Is this when you want us to say everything?
Yeah. you work now? An hour later, I don't know how long you want to be here, but.
So, yeah, my favorite part was probably like when the national officers gave their retiring addresses. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not, but we do it here too. I guess we only do a president one, right? But basically when it's your turn to leave office, then they give like a whole long speech and whatever. And we listened to a couple of those and they were pretty cool. And yeah, I didn't know what to expect when we went, so that's like something that I learned is just like what convention was, because Miss Watson tried to like describe it, but it was like you can't even describe it to somebody. It's so like big and just crazy.
It's very cool. It was probably the cool moment for me was walking in and they were all just kind of looking around, like taking it all in, because it's hard to describe, like even in pictures, it's hard to show what convention is. Aaron's still like flabbergasted by it.
Well, I mean, where the actual convention part was, that was like a 14 acres
Yeah.
worth of convention.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is just huge.
So
And we were
pretty
down
cool
numbers
meeting.
this year, because of COVID, but
Yeah, like what?
we're 20,000 short from 2 years ago, so.
It's pretty cool meeting people from other states too, because like it's cool to look at their jackets because you know where everyone's from, and everyone there, you go up and talk to them and they talk back like everyone's there for the same reason, so you can just go talk to people and meet them.
It's highly encouraged even to go talk to people, so. The other thing we did was we went to the Parley Pro Finals, so we have been a very strong parliamentary procedure team, and we have some big goals hopefully for this year, so that was a good way to get inspired and watch teams that are very, very good at doing parliamentary procedure, so that was fun.
How many of the board members have been to convention? Christine, have you been?
Not an FFA convention, a lot of others.
It used to be in Louisville, right?
Yes, it started in Kansas City and then it moved to Louisville, and then it bounced from Indianapolis to Louisville a couple times, and now they're set in
Their new
Indianapolis
stadium,
for
yeah.
about 10 years, I think, so right now. Indianapolis is really well set up for conventions, just how the downtown's kind of set up and the work that they've put in, so I think that's the current plan, is we'll be there for a while. If anybody would ever like to join us, always take extra chaperones. That Aaron kid, he takes a lot to go around. I'm kidding.
It was me that many.
I did not.
Who bungeed the front of the hood back
I
down?
was just gonna say, and then they decided to do a
Oh.
tutorial on gutting a deer and quartering a deer.
That was a different trip, actually.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was, we
I
went to
thought this
Stevens
was
Point,
different.
so,
Wasn't that one?
so I'll just pre-apologize for later on in the agenda. I think you have to buy a new van.
Yeah.
We hit a deer on the way back from a leadership conference at Stevens Point, so.
But they used the problem-solving skills and got you off
Did.
Highway 29, correct?
It did, yes. FFA ties have more purpose than just looking good. They can hold down hoods of vans too. Because that was all we had with us, so it was an adventure. But. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thanks for letting us join us. Join you tonight. We did bring a little bit of a Christmas gift. I know it's not much, but we just really appreciate support, just having you guys here, and knowing that we've got a good crew here to help us out is awesome. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you coming in,
Yeah,
Ms.
thanks
Watson.
for coming
and
Yes, I'm
Kiddos.
honored to have you guys represent us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Watson.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Please for
All right, next item of business would be review of the COVID-19 procedures.
Okay. Nothing new with the procedures. Just wanted to share where our numbers were at. So this has changed, but as of this was dated Thursday last week, December 9th, we had 2 students that were currently out and 0 staff members that were out at the time, and then total due to the COVID testing positive for COVID-19. And then from September 1st, we've had a total of 29 students and then 6 staff members. So things are continuing to go well here. I know, even we're hearing stuff throughout the community and in the area, but I can only speak to what's happening in the district. And right now things are going well, and our numbers are continuing to stay, relatively low. So nothing new on that.
Good news. Then we'll move on to the next item of business, the approval of the new hires.
Okay. So I have in your board notes just a list of the new hire. It's actually a current employee that applied for the library support staff. She's in the food service department and then shifting. So then we're going to be posting for a food service position if you guys approve this move.
I move to approve the new hire.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve our new hire. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And the next item of business is the approval of a van purchase.
Okay, so as you heard from Ms. Watson and in my emails to you guys that we had a van unfortunately get totaled. Hit a deer on the way home from the leadership conference and wasn't sure if it was going to get totaled or not, but it did get totaled. So then in that email I sent, I don't know if that was a week or two ago, but we had to move pretty quick. Bernard's in New Richmond, only had 3 left. So I sent you guys that letter of, I don't know what I titled, letter of intent or something, to purchase to give until we could get board approval on it. So we can pick it up tomorrow if you guys are willing to approve that. So we got, I think it was 32,000 maybe was the quote, and then what we're getting for the van was only just under 14,000. So we're not getting as much as I had hoped for.
Was that one of the older ones we had, or?
It was this, yeah. So hopefully we're gonna have Miss Watson drive our oldest van next year. And get a new one. So it wasn't our brand new van, but it was the second. Is that our second? Yeah, our second. So.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the van purchase.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded to approve the purchase of a van. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business is the purchase of a bus.
Okay, so it's kind of similar to the van. We gave them kind of our intent. We had 2 quotes last time, so we tabled it. I gave you the 3 quotes. So looking for, this has already been budgeted. The money isn't. So the money's already been budgeted, and then the quote. Just in case you want to know, the quote that we're recommending is the Mid-State. It's got a little X on it, I think. Yeah, so the third quote, the last quote, has the X on it. I mean, they're all fairly similar prices, but that's the one with the air brakes and then the air ride suspension from Mid-State.
All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
I move to approve the bus purchase.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the bus purchase. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is the approval of our civics curriculum.
Okay, so right after that quote that I just told you with the X on it, Mr. Crawford has put together a proposal that the admin supports, and regarding our civics curriculum and some new bill that's recently I believe pending right now, but looks like it's going to be passed. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Crawford to pitch the proposal.
Thank you. Yeah, as Dr. Ernst just said, there's a bill in the Wisconsin Assembly right now. It's titled Assembly Bill 563, which will essentially create a high school graduation requirement that high schools offer a civics course in high schools in order for students to graduate. Currently, there's a civics test requirement that students need to take and pass, a citizenship test, essentially. But this bill will, when it becomes law, will then require a semester-long minimum course to be taught in addition to that. So, just following, the basics of the law, it will likely pass. It made its way through the Wisconsin Assembly, and it's on to the Wisconsin Senate now. wording and the language in the bill might fluctuate a bit, but the intent of it, I truly feel will pass in the near future. And what that means for us is we need to find a way to get in this semester-long course into our teaching schedule and into the 9 through 12 sequence of social studies courses. Luckily for us is we already offer civics as an elective course. Both Mrs. Rubel and I have taught it in years past, but now we would just slide that from the elective column into the required column. And on that document, I have laid out in the left-hand column the current Clear Lake High School social studies courses that we have, and then on the right-hand column is the new updated one and what that would look like pending passage of this law. We've also talked, though, with Mr. Melberg and Mr. Peterson and Mr. Ernst and Mrs. Rubel and I have talked about, well, why don't we get ahead of this and make this change now so that we're ready for it if and when it does come down the pike. If for some reason it wouldn't pass, I still think it's a good idea to offer this here in Clear Lake and to just get the ball rolling now. So that's what we're here to ask for your approval of here tonight. And the big change from what we currently offer to what we are wanting to do is essentially to make the required world history course, which is offered to all freshmen, to cut that down to a semester-long course. Still have it be required, and then we would have room then to fit in the new required civics course. And then what we essentially do is move every other course that we teach up a semester earlier. So halfway through freshman year, we would start U.S. history, which we now start in sophomore year, and then we would fit civics in at the end, which is in their 11th and 12th grade years. They would be required to get that class in at some point in those 4 semesters before they graduate. It doesn't change the amount of social studies credits that we require. We require 3. It just shifts what is required, not the total number of credits. So that's what it looks like. That's what we're proposing doing. And like I said, I don't see why this bill wouldn't pass and thus become law. But even if it were to not become law, I still feel we can make it work here at Clear Lake and want to go ahead with it. If you have any questions, please ask. Mr. Google, if there's anything I missed here. And Mr. Peterson, Mr. Melber too, because we've talked about this also, and it's something we can make happen, and I think we should.
So it says starting with the class of 2026, so they
Correct.
would be in 8th grade?
They are currently 8th graders.
Okay.
But if this law were to pass tomorrow, the current high schoolers would be grandfathered in, so to speak.
Okay.
It would start with next year's freshmen,
Okay.
which is why we would start it next fall with that. And they wouldn't even take civics till they were juniors.
Yeah.
To get it to fit in.
But that
they
would
have to-
require the current freshman,
It would not,
sophomore
no.
to take civics?
Correct, it would not. If it does, that would be news to me based on everything that I've read.
Okay.
And if it does, we can make it work, but I don't see that happening, just the way it has been.
And we currently offer it as an elective already anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so.
Correct.
Okay.
Is there a lot of kids taking it now then, I'm assuming, or?
No, I haven't taught it in a few years. It's been a few years for you too, Mrs. Rubel. We have a number of other really popular electives right now that we offer, which is a good problem to have, so to speak. But I think it's a necessary class, and it'll make a lot of sense to have it be a requirement here. And I also feel that offering it when we do, when they're 11th and 12th graders, is they have a lot more. There are a lot more ways that I can make that course applicable to them as juniors and seniors, as opposed to just getting in as freshmen. They can make, the rights and responsibilities of citizenship a whole lot more applicable to a junior and senior. So that's why it's placed where it is.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the new civics curriculum.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the civics curriculum. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rubel, too. The next item of business is the approval of the 21-22 budget revision.
So we have two revisions for the 21-22 budget. The first one is just the approval to transfer $107,000 from undifferentiated curriculum into other support services. So we had that money budgeted, but we had a change in one individual's, like where we're paying an individual and some of the stuff coming out of that area, technology, and instead of the undifferentiated curriculum area, it should be coming out of support services. So to shift to that. And then the second is the approval to report the $100,000 transfer in the Fund 26 revenue side. So that was approved in the final budget, but it wasn't. It was approved on the expenditure side, but not the revenue side. Did I say that right? Right.
Yeah, but it's Fund 46.
Fund 46, yeah. So they're two separate things that we.
The 107 that we'd be transferring is basically just to better align where the expenses.
Where it's actually coming out of, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, DPI changes their woofer coding occasionally, and that one just got missed.
Okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
I move to approve the 21-22 budget revision.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the budget revisions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next
Appreciate
item of
it.
business is the district calendar 22-23.
I don't feel like I articulated the last thing very well, so I appreciate you guys
You did.
trusting us. But it's.
Let's just hope it works out the way I thought.
Lori was happy with it, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, it's already budgeted, it just was in the, like Mrs. Karnick said, it shifted. So then the next thing is the 22-23 district calendar. So I have that hard copy in there for you, with the exception of the parent-teacher conferences. We don't have those listed in there. Yeah, so the calendar committee met, we went through it, the admin team met, went through the calendar, fairly straightforward.
At spring break, we're gonna keep doing that moving forward then?
Yep, that was the talk last year, to
Okay.
continue with that.
Looks good.
Questions?
I move to approve the 22-23 district calendar.
I second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the 22-23 district calendar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is the discussion of the 21-22 district administrator evaluation.
So past practice has been to discuss it in the December meeting and then approve it or finalize it in the January meeting. So just wanted to throw it out there. Do we want to do the same thing that we've done in the past, where I send a Google form out to you guys with the questions listed in there, and it compiles, and then you guys discuss it, and then we talk through it in January?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good. And then I put that in a closed session item as well, if you wanted to discuss that in more detail in closed session.
Any other? Seeing none, then we'll move on to the next item of business, approval of board policy 1422, non-discrimination and equal opportunity.
Okay, so these are some pretty big policies. So when they update the policies, there's two different types. There's ones that they change the content of the policy, so then it requires board approval, and then there's some, I forget what they call them on their end, what Neola calls them, but in essence, I just have to notify you that there's been some changes with no content errors, but they change, a little bit, but it doesn't change the
meaning of it?
Yeah, the meaning of the policy. So then it just gets updated and then put on our website in the policies. So these are policies that we've had, but Neola felt like there was so much of it changed that it didn't change the meaning or the content, the meat of the policy, but it changed it enough where it warrants board approval again. So they're all based on discrimination or equal education opportunity. Some are very, you'll notice, and then I'll stop talking so you guys can read through them, but you'll notice that some are almost identical, but like one is in the teacher section and then one is in the support staff section. So that's why it looks like we're adopting or you guys are approving or discussing two of the exact same policies.
Is there something with the printer? Why is it
Yeah.
so hard to read?
So I apologize to keep interrupting, but you'll notice anything in color is what is the actual change. The black font is what we already had.
questions?
I'm gonna apologize right now. The printer in the district office is acting a little wonky, so there a couple of these pages, they look like those old school things where you cross your eyes and a picture will pop out, but.
I had to ask because I'm like, is there something going on with my eyes?
It's weird, it's just like the underlined stuff though.
The green is double.
Yeah, just, I think just the
Yeah.
colored, yeah. So I do want to say just one thing, just so you guys are aware of it. All of the changes that are made were Neola recommendations, with the exception of one. Anything that says, like if you look at the very first policy, 1422, the very first sentence says the board will, does not discriminate in the employment of administrative staff on the basis of protected classes of race, color, national origin, age, sex. That red parentheses where it says including transgender status, change of sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. That was me asking them to cross that out. So the thought process behind that is with they're not even Neola is not even touching any transgender policies because there's so much litigation on both sides. So I said, well, then why is that included in that? Can we just remove that? And then if law changes where it is in there, it's still covered under sex. If it's not in there, then we don't have to worry about it. And so that's where that came from. So,
Yeah.
and that same parentheses is the only I think it might be in more than the two policies, but I know for sure it's in 1422 and then 2260. So just so you guys are aware of that. But everything else was just what they gave me.
Just the same.
Yep, was just their attorneys going through it.
So do we have everything posted on our website, throughout the district, on our recruitment statements?
Where are you looking at?
Well, in several of the policies, it says the notice of the board's policy on non-discrimination in employment practices and the identity of the school district's compliance officers will be published on the district's website, posted throughout the district, included in the district's recruitment statements or general information publications.
So we have all of these you have access to all of these on our website, so I think we fulfill that within the.
But are you putting a statement on, like an EEO non-discrimination statement on all your recruitment ads that go out? And
we have it on the bottom. I
It's
don't.
on the letterhead, isn't it?
No, that's our mission statement.
because usually, like for us, when we put out an ad, it has to have that EEO affirmative
Equal
action,
yeah, we do it
equal
on our stuff too.
opportunity.
Chris, we have that at the bottom of everything on weekend, don't we?
Yeah, we have it on weekend
Okay.
for sure.
Which would be our
Recruitment,
advertising
yeah.
position, so.
But not our support staff.
Staff is not necessarily.
Oh,
I just pulled the most recent ones.
So we'll have to put that on our.
Because I don't remember seeing that, that's why I'm like, oh, we better double check.
Yeah.
It used to be on our website.
Well, it would be in our. It's on our website, and we put our all of our employment, support staff employment job postings on our
Usually,
website as
like
well.
we put them even, like when you do the document of the posting, it's still on the bottom. Like,
Yeah.
It's just that clear on every single one.
We could add it to our job posting.
It's just one of those, if you get into a situation, it needs to be about that clear. Because otherwise you're drawing a line between they would have saw it here and then here, and that
Yeah.
creates some reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
The next question is, it says the district will provide non-academic extracurricular services and activities.
Which policy are you on? Sorry, Chris.
Oh, I don't know. Where's the number? Just says code PP.
The first page it has it on.
Yeah, there you go. No.
So it says like
First
one of 9.
On the first page of everyone, right under the underline, do you see the number on the
Oh,
left
yeah.
hand?
2260.01.
To the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's an example of like a non-academic extracurricular service or activity?
Then what page are you on?
1
Oh. Okay.
of 11. Oh, I just realized. It's 11.
It's what I was trying to get at.
Oh, it's this one right here.
It lists it further down, what those non-academic or extracurriculars could be. May include counseling service, athletic, transportation, health services.
I was just wondering like a specific, because they're still fairly generic. Special interest groups, clubs, would that be like art club and FFA? Like would they all
Anything
fall under-
extracurricular, cheerleading, art club, FFA.
Okay.
Is a poorly disciplined child a disability?
No.
So who dictates whether or not there's a disability involved? A mental disability.
If a student, qualifies for an IEP, individualized education program, that would basically be the formal determination if it's a disability, I guess, and from the school's perspective.
And from a legal perspective, a student can have a disability but not need an IEP too. So there's certain definitions of what a disability falls under. I mean, there's a lot of different disabilities that a student could qualify then for an IEP, an individualized education plan. But having a disability doesn't automatically give them the right to have an IEP. They would need an IEP in order to be successful to access the curriculum or access the content of the within the district. Does that make sense? I don't know. Did I answer your question or?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris, did you offer to be the CO?
No, I'm like, come then. Do you like slowly raise your hand?
Thank you.
You didn't have a choice.
Recall
You missed
being
it.
informed or told, I'm not sure.
I thought he volunteered. I thought I remember volunteering.
It's smaller, but it'd be surprising.
So you would be it for both buildings then?
And
Yeah.
It would seem.
It would seem.
Yes. There's two
According to
steps.
policy that we are
Yes.
going to approve, yes.
Yeah, when we walked through it, they wanted one administrator, one counselor, preferably one male, one female, when we were deciding and going through the process last year.
Congratulations.
How often does this
It's really
need to get
spelled
addressed,
out,
Chris?
so.
Well, I mean, from an employee perspective, or I would say rarely, if ever.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'll entertain a motion on all four policies.
I move to approve. Five?
Five.
The red 5 policies.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve board policies 1422, 1422.02, 1623, 2260, and 2260.01. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business are our superintendent notes, Dr. Joshua Harder.
Okay. Just a couple updates I wanted to share. One being the referendum process, just kind of where we're at. We're continuing to move forward. I met with Baird a couple times. I have 2 more meetings, one this week, both of them this week. Mr. Peterson's going to join me. So after talking with Baird, the decision, we kind of talked through when to put it on the agenda, when to have the referendum up. And on the ballot, and we talked about having it on an April ballot for a couple different reasons. So I met with Baird. We talked through all of the different scenarios. I jokingly said with her, they're in the business of getting it 100% wrong, just because there's so many different variables. But I feel like we ran all the different variables from, the percentage of property value, the increase or decrease of student population, the pupil count, and if we get a state aid from the per pupil, what that would look like, and kind of ran all of the different scenarios, and then asked her to come up with a dollar amount of how much we could ask the voters for, while still keeping the mill rate at the same rate. So right now we've over levied. We've over levied a little bit, and last year we over levied about this current year $500,000 to keep the mill rate where it's at in Fund 39. So Fund 39 is our referendum account. So she thought $600,000 would be, if we did a recurring referendum for $600,000, then we could remove the over levy amount in Fund 39 and have our mill rate almost exactly the same, with some of those variables in place. And I asked, with those variables, we're going to ask for more than what we need, that $600,000 mark, and then we'll be able to under levy or over levy to keep the mill rate where we want it. So based on that, we're going to so we're meeting with Quarles and Brady, who gave me kind of a question to look at. Baird sent Quarles and Brady all the different scenarios as far as, like I said, with the property value going up, going down, the pupil count going up, going down, the state aid per pupil, that at zero increase, that at currently. Evers just passed the $134 per pupil this year. So based on those, what that would mean for the district and what this would mean long term. So she's going to go over that with all of that information with us on Wednesday, and then we're going to meet with Baird again on Friday to kind of try to finalize some of the stuff to bring to you guys to share with you what the actual question will look like and what that dollar amount will be. But right now it's looking like $600,000. And when we meet with the teacher compensation crew and then the whole staff, our sales pitch that we were going to communicate out to the stakeholders is we're going to be able to do this without impacting the mill rate at all. And I think that's a huge sales pitch, to be able to increase our teaching salaries, which I don't think it's any secret, and I think most recognize that we're losing good teachers, and we're not losing them because it's a district that they don't want to be here. I mean, we even have individuals that have left and reached out wishing they would have stayed and wanting to come back, but it's really about the salaries and what we have to offer. And a certain amount, all of the teachers that we've had here long term have been compromised, and then certain pockets have been more compromised than others, as you guys are well aware. So I was really excited after this. I think if we can get this passed and communicate out that it's not going to impact the mill rate, because if it doesn't pass, we're still, to keep our mill rate consistent, we would still over levy to prepay our debt. So either way, the mill rate's going to stay the same. So I feel like to the taxpayers, we're able to attract teachers, which is what we want, attract good teachers, keep our great teachers, which we've identified as a problem, and do it in a way that's not going to cost any more money for taxpayers. So if we do this will drastically impact, I think, Clear Lake in a positive way for a long, long time. So just wanted to throw that out there if you guys had any questions regarding that. But the next step is to get kind of the bottom dollar and the information to you guys, and then communicate it out internally and come up with a plan to communicate it externally.
Is that $600,000 rolling, or is that just a one-time?
So recurring would be every year. So we would be able to, so we would have to set up our teacher compensation. It's more money than we need this year, but long term, it would benefit us long term, because obviously salaries go up and the $600,000 wouldn't. So it would be every year from here on out. So it really would be have a huge positive impact on our structure and our teachers' salaries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For getting that going, Josh.
Yeah, and I think one of the gals who I've been working with, she's phenomenal. She said she'd be willing to come in and present to the board and talk to you guys and answer any questions. So that's that. That's still moving forward, and I'm excited. And like I said, it's it seems like it's not, but internally I've been having quite a bit of meetings with Baird, and then now Corals and Brady, and then we're going to pull together the teacher compensation committee after the Christmas break, just to inform them where we're at and kind of where we're headed, and then we're still moving forward.
How soon do you have to have that on the?
She's gonna her name's Allison, so she's the one that, if you remember those documents that we did our refi with, it's that same name, the same gal from Corals and Brady. She's gonna give us our timeline, when it goes out to the municipalities.
Imagine you can't do it on April 1st.
What's that?
Imagine you can't get it on the ballot April 1st.
No, there's a process. So that's that. The second thing I wanted, or anybody have any other questions on that?
So when do we what role do we play in selling this to the stakeholders?
Honestly, I think I think with our community, Baird had said the most powerful thing that small rural school districts can do is word of mouth. She said you can hire a big firm to do it, but she said she's seen that the most powerful for the smaller districts is the word of mouth, because there's a trust, there's a little bit more of a trust piece when you hear it from someone else versus something just getting thrown out in an email. But I think what we'll do is offer some community meetings where people open it up to the public if they want to come in and ask questions, and we'll have something that we can share with them. But I think the most important piece that we're going to communicate to our teaching staff and support staff, and then to you guys, is start spreading the word that we're moving toward a referendum. The reason is that we have a huge discrepancy in our teacher salaries when you look at other districts, and that's no secret. I mean, that's all public knowledge, so they can go look for themselves, that we continue losing good teachers to other districts who pay more, and that your mill rate is not going to be impacted. And the main reason for that is that we've over levied in Fund 39 while we've been prepaying our debt in order to keep the mill rate steady or consistent, from year to year. And this will just fill that void, that hole when we pull that money out, which we can do at any time. So, if you guys have any ideas or thoughts, or you want us to move in a different direction, please let me know. But I'm really excited about it. And I think if we can get this passed, I think it'll be very beneficial to the district long term. Second thing, I know we got a concert here shortly. I just wanted to say the single audit was complete. Just wanted to thank Mrs. Karnick for all her time and energy, along with Ms. Nordby in the district office. That was no easy feat, and we've got some things that'll be added to our regular audit that you'll see as far as things that we have to do. Make a couple changes, nothing major. So that'll be in a booklet like we normally get for the regular audit. So those are the main two things that I just wanted to touch on.
And your next item of business is a contemplated closed session. Thank you everybody for coming to the meeting tonight. In accordance to WSS 19851C, considering employment compensation or performance data of any public employee over which government divides jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. Also in accordance with WSS 19285 concerning financial, medical, social, personal histories, disciplinary data, or specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, investigation of charges against specific persons if discussed in public, likely to have a substantial adverse effect on the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations. We'll discuss 21-22 district administrator evaluation and review a notice of claim. I'll pull the board. Christie?
Yep.
Nettie?
Yes.
Skip?
Yep.
Myself, yes. We are in closed session. All right, we're back in open session. Future agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to visit about?
Some of that
Evaluation
referendum
referendum
stuff will be next.
Yeah, my evaluation. We'll have more information with the referendum.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Then properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Thank you, guys.
Motion passes. We are adjourned.